the parents and stuff of those that it served and made the ultimate sacrifice. And, we're coming back a little rusty today. Scott just got back from a nice long vacation in Denver, helping his SR2 graduate appropriately. How you doing in there, Scott? Why don't you take us to weather and tell us about your trip and talk about traffic and all that?
You got it, David. I'm doing all right. A little rusty. It's the box is the most challenging on the live broadcast, and if you haven't done it in a while, then you need to get back into it. There's so many buttons in here. So let me hit one that goes right to our traffic, which right now, let's take a look. Let's see what we got going on. Looks like nothing much going on in Marana. We do have one clearing, but it's way out Aber Valley area. If we let's zoom into this Costco, looks like we've got a little bit more related to construction than anything else on some of our delays down I-10 around the Costco area. If you're interested in weather, we are going to get over 100 is what the interwebs are telling us.
Wonderful.
Here by about 4 o'clock. So did you guys, I know that I was out for a while. Did you guys get to 100 while I was gone? Or
yesterday, I believe so.
For
might have reached
1 minute at the airport.
1 minute at the airport?
1 minute at the airport in the afternoon.
That's all it takes. I know that my pool temperature jumped about 3 degrees this weekend, so the heat is on. It's the preheating, right?
Now you don't have to use your space blanket anymore. So that's what we got for weather today. It's probably going to be about the same all week. 101 by the time we hit 2 o'clock today. So good luck with that, everybody.
There it is. Welcome back, 100s. It's been a while. I think we get them for a good 130 days or something like that. Well, we've got Brian Watson back here in studio with us today. He's been here before, so there's already some chemistry within this whole conversation that we've had. And now he's on our live broadcast today. So listeners and viewers, if you feel compelled to chime in today on the chat and have any questions for Brian, go for it. Brian is a former IRS special agent, and he is the current community outreach specialist for Rose. And he's been here before. He gave us a wealth of knowledge last time he was here. He shared stories and examples, talked about his career. And he's undoubtedly just one of the most genuine community safeguards that are out there right now. I mean, it's a real thing, and we're going to talk about some more examples of some stuff that you've seen. And you're also out there instructing at the University of Arizona, which is really cool. That's something new that you started since you've been in here. So I'm going to let you take the floor and kind of just tell us what's been going on, what you've been doing since last time you were here in September.
Well, good morning, David. Yes, I was here in September, and since then, I really gotten into the fraud fighting thing. I do presentations, I do TV, I do radio, I write articles, just trying to warn the public about scams. And what I've learned since September, since we sat here in the studio, it's way worse than I thought.
Really?
It's unbelievable. And then I go and do presentations, and people walk up to me afterwards and they share their stories, and it's absolutely heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a few $1,000s, all the way up to $1 million, and everything in between.
And are these sometimes people that weren't like reported victims? Like they just kind of took the lump and were either embarrassed, or have they all, for the most part, reported what they were dealing with?
Most of them have reported it.
Yeah.
And but it's tough. And what I've learned is they're all very smart people. I haven't met anybody who's got Alzheimer's or dementia or lost power over their finances. These are all people that live on their own, travel, volunteer, sometimes work. They handle their own finances. They're just dealing with scammers that are way better at it than they are.
Yeah, and especially with AI in the new world, it's got to be making it more challenging.
It is. AI is limited right now. And someone told me this: AI right now in its current form is the worst it's ever going to be. Meaning every day it gets better and better and better.
Right.
But most of these scams that I'm talking about are actually very simple, but they're just executed very well.
Okay.
A lot of times it's just a phone call or an email. but the scammers are reading a script that has proven to work, and they've tweaked it, and they're just very persuasive, sometimes bossy, sometimes they do whatever they need to do. They're like mini psychologists.
Yeah.
They say the words that the victims need to hear to keep moving through the scheme.
Right.
And then afterwards, these people are crushed. They lose money, but then they also have a lot of self-doubt. And then it causes problems in families. And, I met a lady who was very close to killing herself. She was just going to take all of her sleeping pills after losing over $200,000. It was the bulk of her life savings. So it's absolutely heartbreaking. I'm accumulating these stories.
Right.
So it's extremely motivating for me, for the nonprofit I work for, to get out there.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll reach out, and a lot of these, places I want to go talk to, whether it's a church, a retirement community, or working with a law enforcement agency, they just don't want to move as fast as I want to move, because there's a sense of urgency. Like, people are losing money every single day, and they're our friends and our family members.
Yeah. So let's talk about the nonprofit that you're involved in. What is it, and why did it start?
So it's called ROSE, and the acronym is Resources Outreach to Safeguard the Elderly. It was started in 2021 by our founder, Joyce Petrowski. She had a loved one get entangled in one of those nasty romance scams. She was looking for help trying to extricate her from this scheme, and it was rough, and she couldn't get a lot of resources. There's a lot of people that are in the fraud fighting game, but very few nonprofits are 100% dedicated to prevention and resources like that. And so she saw a need. So she started ROSE. And what we do is we're primarily focused on prevention. We want to get out there and meet people where they are, tell them what's out there, and then give them the tools so they don't become victims themselves.
So how many presentations have you done in the last 10 months? That's the last time you were here, right?
Yeah. So I counted up. I've done 39 presentations since October 1st.
Wow.
And anywhere from, presentations into the hundreds of people. And I had one presentation where I had one lady show up. I did a joint presentation with a law enforcement agency up in northern Arizona. I won't name the agency. Just there's no reason to. We didn't publicize it very well.
Oh, no.
And we had one lady show up. But you know what? We gave her a great presentation.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter if you have one person show up or if you have 150 people show up. You want to tell them what's out there.
Right, right. So with the fraud report that comes out every year, where is Arizona on that report as far as scams and frauds for the elderly? How many, the statistics behind it? How many people became victims?
Right. So you're referring to the 2023 Elder Fraud Report.
Yes.
And it just came out, and we've been waiting on it. Arizona, we came in number 6 for total losses.
Wow.
Here's
That's
the
not
problem.
good.
Here's the problem.
Yes.
Arizona is 14 in population. So we are taking more than our fair share of the abuse. In that report, documented $128 million reported, and we know, the numbers are much higher.
Yeah.
It was 82 million the year before. So it went up about 50%. And, all the states in the top 5 are the ones you would expect. California, Texas, Florida, Illinois, the big populous states. So we're either really good at reporting, or the scammers know there are a lot of victims here.
Yeah. Well, can I ask what number 1 was?
California.
California.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because California is the most populous state.
Right.
So it just makes complete sense. More people, more losses.
Yeah. So is there any way to say that maybe the demographic that comes here during the wintertime and stuff like that, is that contributing to those numbers? Because, you have a lot of retirees here, especially down in southern Arizona.
Absolutely. Well, we know, you just look at the numbers as well, the people that lose the most money are 60 plus, what we call older adults. Now, do teenagers get scammed? Yes. Sometimes even at a higher percentage. But teenagers don't have any money unless you're a trust fund baby,
Yeah.
But a lot of the older people that I've met, they've accumulated wealth over a lifetime.
Right.
Some people are on a fixed income. Yeah, absolutely. But I've met a lot of adults, 60 plus, who have their house paid off, who have a 401k, who might have a pension, they might have military benefits, and they've saved their whole life. They've put off things so that they could retire, so they could travel, so they could spend time with their grandkids. And those are the people that get picked on the most. It's also a very trusting generation. You know, I'm kind of in between. I'm in my early 50s. You know, I grew up answering the phone. You know, we didn't have call waiting, caller ID. And that's what gets my generation and older in trouble, is because we were raised to be polite. You answer the phone always. You didn't screen a phone call. You didn't have that option. And you just combined, you know, accumulation of wealth, trusting generation, and just it's a big pool of victims, and that's where the scammers are going after, and that's where they're being most successful.
You have a lot on your plate. You have a lot of work to do. I mean, it's so, and I know that you're kicking butt out there and doing all these different things. You know, you're talking about doing presentations, and what are some other things that you're doing in the community to educate in regards to this?
Well, you talk about my adjunct instructor job at U of A?
Yeah, let's talk about that. What
That-
is an adjunct instructor, by the way?
So it means a very poorly paid professor. It's
Killing me.
It's actually really cool. So
Yeah.
University of Arizona supplements their professor ranks with real life experience. And actually, most of the time, so I'm in the School of Government and Public Policy, and I just taught a class at U of A. It ended early May. It was called White Collar Crime.
Okay.
And 49 students, about 75% of them are pre-law. They're intending to go to law school. Also, a lot of criminal justice majors, poli-sci. And, you know, most professors have a PhD. You know, they're very educated. They do research. They've written a thesis. They dedicated their life to teaching and research in the university system. Well, U of A has this, well, a lot of schools, most schools do, have an adjunct program, and they bring people in to teach a class because they have the real world experience. Like one of the other adjuncts at U of A is Jay Dobbins, you know, the former ATF agent who infiltrated the Hells Angels. I sat in on one of his classes. It was fascinating. His stuff is way more interesting than what I was talking about. But then there are several TPD officers, you know, who were in management. They've retired and moved over. And what's great is because former law enforcement were on a pension, we can do things that don't necessarily pay a lot of money.
Right.
So it's a win-win. And I only have a bachelor's degree. You know, I told this PhD who offered me the job at a Trident Grill last May, and he had my resume, and I said, Brad, you realize I only have a bachelor's degree, because most adjuncts, they require a master's. And he said, Brian, there's no master's degree in the world that replicates 28 years of investigating crimes. And I said, amen, brother.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. It was a huge privilege. You know, I joke about the pay, but, you know, they are entrusting me with the time and energy and minds of, you know, 50 students.
Yeah.
And it was a huge responsibility, but it was a huge, I loved prepping for it. I loved teaching the kids. It was great, and I'm signed up to do it again next year.
Nice.
So it's really, really cool.
Well, you're a man that don't quit, Brian, because you retired, and you're in all kinds of things.
Well,
right? You're in rows. You're doing
quasi-retired,
quasi-retired,
but just taking part-time jobs. And then I've actually put in to go back to the IRS 20 hours a week.
Really?
So I would be an OJI, on the job instructor, for some new agents that are just coming out of our academy.
Okay.
So I would, if all goes well and they pick me up, 20 hours a week, show up at the office and just be a resource for these new agents, teach them the ropes, help them become successful IRS special agents.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Man, I get to sit at the same tables. That's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Don't bother me too much, y'all.
Yeah.
Now, do your taxes, though. Seriously, if you haven't done your taxes, do your taxes. It's really important. I always try to do those early, man. I don't even want to hassle with it. Just it's not worth it. Okay, so before our show, you often send some notes, and sometimes we'll have conversations. And there's one here that's highlighted to me, and it stands out. It's pig butchering.
Yep.
Right? Romance scam combined with investing in cryptocurrency. This story is crazy. And let's talk about this pig butchering one here, please. Just give the audience this, because last time I don't think we were live, so it was a pre-recorded thing.
Right.
But we do have listeners and viewers that are watching. So let's talk about this one.
So when I mentioned the word pig butchering to crowds, to presentations, everyone looks at me like I'm crazy. I heard about pig butchering 2 years ago, and I actually learned about it on the Rose website when I was still an IRS special agent. And Joyce, who I mentioned earlier, our founder and president of the board of directors, interviewed a psychologist or researcher about pig butchering. And I'm like, pig butchering? What the heck is that? And I learned what it is. And it's a scheme that emanated out of China. Mm-hmm. And the reason it's called pig butchering, it's a play on a word that means killing pig's plate. And the scammers fatten up the victim by getting the victim to invest in cryptocurrency. And then when they've invested all their money, they go in for the slaughter. They kill them, not physically, but financially. And you cut them off. So what happens is, and you can just go on the internet and look at it. These are highly organized criminal rings all over the world. I was watching one behind the scenes of a pig butchering operation in Dubai, but most of them are in Southeast Asia, but they can be anywhere. And a lot of times it starts out romance scam, online. You have some interactions. After a certain amount of time, you refer to each other as boyfriend, girlfriend. And then instead of just asking for money so I can come visit you so we can get married, and I met a lady recently who just lost $50,000 in a traditional romance scam. And she's tearing up telling me the story. And she fell in love with a guy online that didn't exist. So anyways, the scheme has evolved to where they say, you've heard of Bitcoin, right? You've heard of crypto, right? I'm really good at it. Do you want to try to invest some money? Oh, I don't know. Oh, it's easy. We'll just start small, and they'll have the person invest money. A lot of times putting cash into a Bitcoin ATM, like huge red flag right there. Mm-hmm. And they'll actually show them some returns on a little program or an app that they send, but it's all fake. And you get the returns, and then they encourage them to invest more. So the biggest one that I'm personally aware of, and I spoke to the victim, she lost $700,000 in a pig butchering scheme. And super smart lady. She was a widow, met a guy online, encouraged her to invest so her grandkids would be set up for life. And she actually sold her house to invest more. Because, and she told me at the very end of the scheme, she said, Brian, right before it ended, I knew there was nothing I could do. She was smart enough to know. She'd figured it out. And then the guy just ghosted her. And she's renting a room from her friend. And that $700,000 could have gone, for her. It could have gone for her children, for her grandchildren. Could have been donated to charities. And it's unbelievable. It's making the national news. CBS Sunday Morning with Jane Pauley just did a huge story on a lady that drowned and disappeared and told her story. And then is it John Oliver, the guy that does the
Scott, can you help us with that? Maybe do a little Google.
Is it John Oliver that he's a nighttime, one of the evening cable hosts? He did a really interesting story on pig butchering. Really explained it well.
Okay.
Yeah. But these people they're super sophisticated. They play on our greed because everyone wants a good stock tip and everyone wants to, make money. But it's brutal. They will wipe people out.
Yeah.
Absolutely wipe people out. So everyone needs to know what pig butchering is. Even though it sounds crazy, you got to know what it is. And if you know somebody who's investing online in crypto with someone they don't know,
red flag.
Huge red flag. And then you're stuck, It's a horrible crime because they will take everything you have.
Yeah, it looks like John Oliver dug into the as it related to crypto for pig butchering and did a deep dive into that. So you can find that online. That's probably good information for people.
Thank you, Scott. We appreciate you, man.
That's why he's here.
It's nice to have you back. We
More
were
than just
drowning without
pushes
you.
buttons.
What day is it? Where am I? Who are you?
You know, we're talking about well-trained individuals that are involved in these, you know, and I think that's what people need to realize when you're talking about well-organized, well-trained, right? Their scripts. They've been doing this. You know, you're talking about going and training these new IRS agents. They have their own programs of bringing people in and training them, right?
Oh, yeah.
They're
and some of these scammers in these pig butchering operations actually have people working there against their will. They'll lure people from other countries with the promise of a high-paying job, and then they get there and they work almost in like a slave labor where they take their passport and they make them make phone calls all day long or engage with people online. These are not just one-offs where you have someone just trying to make scam phone calls. These are criminal enterprises that are well-funded that they just bring, you know, like some of these operations have 1,000 people. I watched a video yesterday, and that was the one from Dubai. They estimated that 1,000 people at little workstations calling people, or calling, texting, messaging on dating apps. The dating apps is where it's at.
That's what was my next question was like, where are these connections starting?
Dating apps.
Okay.
And like, for instance, the lady I met earlier this month, she went through a divorce. She ended up going on a Christian dating site, met this guy, and that's where they are. They're sharks. They're trolling. They're swimming around looking for victims. They find people on the dating sites or on like Facebook and Messenger or Words with Friends, and then they'll quickly move it offline because the dating apps have security features built in where they're looking for IPs coming from other countries. So the scammers will get you offline and use something like a WhatsApp or any sort of messaging service that would be separate from the dating app.
Where is, maybe you don't know this, but I figure I should inquire about it. Where is this money that's being taken going? What are these criminal enterprises? Who's behind them? Who's in the shadows? I mean, I'm sure we have an idea of what. I mean, sure, there's some terrorist organizations and other things, but is there anyone that stands out where you can go, oh, yeah, it's definitely, they're taking a big chunk of it?
Yeah, I mean, every country has scammers.
Yeah.
And, you know, India has the scammers that did the IRS phone scam, but now they've moved into the tech support scam. You have Nigeria. It's always been a hotbed for fraud.
Yeah.
You can look up these things called the Yahoo Boys, and it's basically romance scammers that are actually, I actually watched a video of a church pastor in Nigeria cheering on the Yahoo Boys, saying, you know, they're making money and helping other people, you know. A friend of mine got taken by a timeshare scam out of Mexico that I'm sure is being run by the cartel. You know, because a lot of these scams, they're a whole lot safer than moving drugs or moving weapons or human trafficking. It's all electronic, and it can be done so safely. But there's scammers worldwide, and they're only getting better, more organized, and you know, you have to we have to educate people, because just hoping it won't happen to you is not a plan.
Right.
You know, it's like we have to be proactive. That's why we're doing this right now. You got to have those conversations with mom and dad, you know, grandma and grandpa. Let them know these things, you know, what they do. You know, you be careful about answering the phone, clicking on emails, you know, who you're interacting with on social media.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go to a quick ad break. I hear the music chiming in. We will continue this after this, and we'll talk about why it is so hard to get someone to leave a romance scam.
Discover the power of 88 Crime, where your anonymous tips are rewarded with cash. When you call in anonymously with a tip, you are given a code. With the code and a password, you can walk into a bank and redeem your reward anonymously. If your anonymous tip results in a felony arrest, you can claim up to $2,500 cash reward. Let's stop the silence on crime and strive for a safer community. For more information, please visit 88crime.org or call 88crime.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, coppercreekcookies.net.
We can print anything on our soft vanilla logo cookies. We deliver them and other sweet treats locally. We are located at 4249 West Ina Road, Suite 121. Call us 520-300-1131. We bake smiles.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, coppercreekcookies.net.
Are you looking to establish a powerful online presence for your brand? Look no further than Live the Dream Media. Our team of experts possess the capabilities and skills necessary to make it happen. From creating compelling content to analyzing data and making strategic decisions, we've got it covered. Don't let a lack of social media know-how hold you back. Visit ltdmedia.net for more information.
Hi, I'm Alan Murdoch. For the past 20 years, I've been buying, fixing, and selling properties right here in Southern Arizona. And I want to buy your property. Whether it's a house, apartment, commercial building, or vacant land, regardless of the condition or the situation, I want to talk to you. When you sell to me, I pay cash and it's hassle-free. No repairs, no closing costs, and no commissions. If you have a property you don't want to deal with and you want a quick solution, call, text, or visit selltalon.com. Again, that's selltalon.com.
Hi, I'm Melissa Zuppi, running for the Marana Town Council. As a resident of Marana, I've witnessed the positive growth that has created a strong community where people in all stages of life want to live. Unfortunately, with growth comes traffic. One of my top priorities and goals is to work towards securing funding for the improvement of Marana's high-traffic I-10 interchanges and local roadways. Let's keep Marana moving forward together. Vote Melissa Zuppi, Marana Town Council.
Hi, I'm Ed Honey, and I'm running for mayor of the town of Marana. I can assure you that if you have water now in the town of Marana, you will have it for the rest of your life. Water is not going to go away. Our water table in North Marana has gone from 300 feet down to 140 feet at the current status. Water will be here forever. Please support Melissa Zuppi, Roxanne Ziegler, and Ed Honey for Marana Town Council.
Welcome back. Thank you for all of those awesome places and businesses that have advertised on our program. And if you're interested in doing so, there's plenty of spots open and you're always welcome. It helps us pay for the lights to be on and us to continue this as we increase our reach. We'll be moving into the TuneIn app pretty soon here, where you'll be able to listen to us in your car, on your drive to work, and maybe we'll have some programs for the drive home. But all right, let's continue where we were at, okay? And I was talking about the romance scams. And there's one thing that really stands out about this is it seems that individuals may hold on to this love and hope of the relationship that it is real, right? And be in this kind of sense of denial, because I know we can all probably agree that we've met somebody that was in a relationship, whether short-term or long-term, that really was just stuck in it, trying and not wanting to leave it and not wanting to lay it to rest, right? And that happens with these romance scams, right?
It does. Someone will message them online, and it starts out real innocent and sweet and a little back and forth, and then the scammer starts saying things they want to hear. And all of a sudden it becomes that perfect boyfriend, that perfect girlfriend, and they have a picture, and things escalate real quick because people share things real fast online. Yeah. They're very open to share because that's the only way to communicate the only way to interact is to communicate by typing. It's not like going on a date where you might be a little more reserved and, you're spending time with them and doing activities, going on hikes, going out to dinner, going to movies. They're just interacting all day long. And these people fall in love with like almost a perfect image of what they want a mate to be.
Ugh, so cringy, man. Ugh.
And that's why it's so insidious, because not only do they end up taking money, but they take away their trust in fellow human beings, not only as just friends, but even as a romantic interest. So it just really leaves people jarred and they just don't want to interact, or they can never really trust again. Romance scams are so insidious because it's like they get them in both ways, money and in trust.
Yeah. And I can't help but think about the emotional trauma that comes from it as well. Like with yourself, like I'm just thinking like, man, I let that happen to me. Like it's got to be hard. You gotta like grieve yourself and forgive yourself in that. I mean, it's just
it's absolutely brutal. And this lady I met recently, she referred to the guy as my Peter, and she had a picture, and like they were going to get married, and she thought she found the person that she was going to spend the rest of her life with, but it was a complete lie. Everything was a complete lie. And she lost $50,000. You know, it could have been more.
Yeah.
It could have been the $700,000 we mentioned at the beginning of the show. It's absolutely brutal. And it's just hard to extricate them. And that, as I mentioned earlier as well, was the impetus for Joyce to start this nonprofit. Mm-hmm. Was trying to get that loved one out of that romance scam, because the scammers will split up families and say they don't want you to be happy. You know, they don't listen to them, listen to me. You know, we're going to be married, and it's actually considered domestic violence. I learned that by speaking to a psychologist here in town. She said romance scams, even though there's no physical interaction because of distance, it's actually considered domestic violence because of the control, because of the grooming, because the absolute control that these people do, you know, and it's just an awful, awful scheme.
Yeah. Hey, Brian, I got a question for you. So you talked a little bit about AI and how challenging it's the worst it's ever going to be. So obviously these scams are going to get more and more difficult to sniff out. And I would imagine there's going to be some sort of return back to that human-to-human interaction, because you're going to get to the point where you don't trust anything that you see online. Yeah, have you noticed a shift in that mentality, or are people still kind of open and willing and just not educated as much as they need to be right now?
That's a tough question. I mean, you know, the biggest thing with AI I see is it cleans up emails. So instead of noticing the grammar mistakes that we would have seen over the years, that like, oh, this is coming from another country, this is not an English first language speaker. I'm seeing a lot of that. I don't think we're there yet. I think we're at the point where we're just going to have to assume every voicemail is fake.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
that's crazy.
Because I've played around with AI with a former colleague, and he recorded my voice and then had it say whatever it wants to say, and I'm like, that's my voice. I was invited to join a presentation with Pima County Sheriff's Department down at Tucson Estates a couple months ago, and the deputies that are part of their detectives put on a huge presentation, and they took a guy's voice they recorded beforehand and then made him sound like he was stuck overseas asking for money. And everyone there knew this guy because he was like the HOA president. And we're all sitting there going, yeah, that's him.
Wow.
Because we heard him talk, and we're like, that's him. So if you had received that voicemail from him saying, oh, I'm in Italy and I lost my passport and my credit cards, can you send me money? Most people would. So that's a very effective use of AI to fool people.
Yeah, we were messing with that a couple weeks ago. I recorded my voice. Remember, Scott? And then and it just like, oh man, yeah, it's really crazy. You bring up a good point with that, Scott. It's a good question. Like if we're gonna see that shift, because it's just gonna become so overwhelming for folks, like to just deal with. I mean, and it's like it's just it's so cringy and scary. But
you know, it's kind of a good thing as that happens, because you're gonna be able to have face-to-face meetings and actually get to interact with other humans, and not just have it be this, like it got so convenient to just text and voicemail and just do all of this business online, but with all of the danger, probably going to get right back to some good human one-on-one interaction.
Yeah, you had a guy on your podcast couple weeks ago, right? Kevin Adger. Didn't he talk about where someone did such a good deep fake video of a higher up of a company or something like that?
Yeah,
Was that your
exactly.
podcast?
Yeah, it was the trying to sort out those, because you can actually do it with video now too. And they did one with Carrie Lake that was indistinguishable to the human eye of both her voice and her face and what she was saying. Okay, if you're seeing it on the internet, you almost have to assume it's fake. Is that where we're getting to? And is that going to bring back some good human interactions of going back to one-on-one is what I hope.
Yeah. Well, I can assure you folks today that all of us are real people. All right, let's get back on track, man. I know we got a lot to cover here, but if we don't, we'll just get you back in here if that's cool.
Absolutely.
You're always welcome here, man.
I get paid to talk. Words are free, pretty much.
Okay, so money mule.
Yep.
That's our next conversation. What is a money mule?
So everyone's familiar with the term drug mule, someone who actually transports narcotics on their body, inside their body, across oceans, across borders, across states. A money mule does the same thing, but actually moves money. So, you're hearing earlier these stories of romance scams where someone lost $700,000. You think, well, I don't have $700,000. What can they do to me? Well, the scammers, if they figure out you have no money, they'll use you as a money mule. So to give you an example, I met a gentleman who lost $15,000 in a grandparent scam. And I met with him. I just wanted to hear his story so I could share it with others. He lost the $15,000. He wired it to a lady in Indiana, and he reported it to law enforcement. They tracked that $15,000 to its first stop, and they found this lady, figured out she was a money mule. She was just someone that a scammer met online through a romance scam, and she was just moving money for him as a favor. So he said, hey, I'm going to send you $15,000. When you get it, move it on to this person. She's a money mule. And she basically facilitated criminal activity. And what's interesting is at the federal government, when I was still there, we would go out and talk to people, multiple agencies. We're talking FBI, HSI, IRS. We'd go out there along with the police departments, Pima County Sheriffs, TPD, and we go out and talk to people and say, hey, you know what? We suspect you're a money mule. Do you know this person you're moving money for? Oh, he's my boyfriend. No, he's not. You're being scammed. So they don't actually take money from the people, but they just take their time and their identity, and they use it as a layer of protection.
Wow.
So when the federal agent issues a grand jury subpoena for a bank account, they get the records back and they realize the money just moved to the next account, into the next account. But that's what a money mule is. Sometimes they actually get charged where they refuse to stop what they're doing.
No kidding.
It actually, yeah. The FBI has a very interesting video online where they share a woman's story, and she was actually charged criminally because she refused, and she was moving cell phones as well. I mean, at a certain point, she was warned, and she kept doing it. But love makes us do some really dumb things.
That is really interesting to hear, especially because of the psychological manipulation that has to take place for that bad guy to trust, like to be so confident in that. It's just it just blows my mind.
Well, the romance scams / pig butchering / money mules, these are not things that are just real quick. They've developed a long play scam where most of the scams, they want the money right away.
Right.
They want to keep you on the phone while you're driving down to Walmart to buy that prepaid card. The big difference is these romance scams, it's a long play. They're developing that total control, that total trust to the point where they know if they have money sent to this person, they're going to move it on to the next stop.
Wow, man. Okay.
I got hit by a money mule scam, now that you talk about it, when I was 19 years old. And that's what they used me for. So what they did is I just wanted a job. I was 19, and I found this job installing satellite dishes. So we went to California, and they set us up with all the training to install satellite dishes. And at the end of it, they said, well, what we need is some information because we need to build this business bigger. And long story short, what they did is they pulled student loans in our names as workers and got the money funneled to them for the student loans when all of us 19, 20-year-old kids were just looking for like blue-collar jobs to install satellite dishes, and they used us as a money mule, and that dude got caught, and he had to do like a long time in prison.
Wow.
So
New
thanks for
story
reminding
for
me
you,
of that.
Brian.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, someone comes and drops something on you.
Yeah.
So you, the beekeeper. Okay.
Yeah.
I saw like the graphic for it, I think on Amazon
Yeah.
Prime, and I forgive me because in my shallow and quick look at it, I'm like, who wants to watch something about a beekeeper? Jason
Yeah.
stated, I'm like, what is this? But obviously there's something more to it,
No,
and I need
I-
to listen. So what's going on with the beekeeper? Why is it on our talking points today?
Yeah, so the movie came out in January. I went and saw it right away. And the reason why I saw it is the premise of the movie is a friend of Jason Statham's character in the movie gets scammed in a tech support scam. And actually, the character is actually Felicia Rashad, who was Mrs. Huxtable from The Cosby Show. And so, you know, everyone knows who she is. Everyone loves her. And it was a close friend in the movie. She's sitting at home, laptop, and a little thing pops up saying, you know, your computer has viruses. You need to call this number right now to get it fixed, which is a huge mistake because it's a scam. And when you call that number, you're calling the scammers. And the movie did an excellent job portraying how a tech support scam might go down. It was done so well to the point where I was sitting there thinking, if that was me or a family member, we could easily fall for it because they had an answer for everything. She said, well, I have a tech support person that I could call. No, we don't want you to lose those photos of your grandkids. And at a certain point in the movie, they asked for the remote access, where they send a little message and you give them permission. You never want to give remote access because it's like allowing a criminal to sit in front of your computer with everything open. And they end up stealing $2 million from a charity that she oversaw in the movie. And it just goes downhill from there. I mean, the movie I had some problems with because of the vigilante justice, which as a former law enforcement officer, I don't condone.
Yeah.
And I did not like the way they portrayed the law enforcement agencies in the movie. But you could understand in the movie why someone would want to go after criminals to the point where you're rooting for Jason Statham.
Right.
But I like to talk about the movie because it really brought attention to the tech support scam. And that's really the crime du jour right now.
Really?
It is. People call you up and tell you, one, someone's trying to take your money out of your bank and you need to move it quickly, and they're going to get you to move it to a Bitcoin ATM. I met a lady named Sue, not her real name, up in Phoenix. She actually lost $200,000 because she got a call saying someone at the bank is trying to steal your money. We're going to protect it. And they were very bossy. They're pushy, and they got her to move money to a Bitcoin ATM, and she had no control over it. But I met this lady in town here in Tucson named Connie. I spoke at an event in Oro Valley at the police department in March. She came up to me afterwards and said, I lost money in a scam. It's affected me terribly to the point where I struggle watching the news, but I want to tell my story. So Connie did a TV story with KOLD 13. We went on Wake Up Tucson together earlier this month, and she also did an article in the Explorer. But she was at home, and this is how the tech support scam works. Gets an email from McAfee, and she actually had McAfee by chance, and they said, we've upgraded your service. It's an extra $20 a month. If you don't want it, you need to call. You know, huge red flag. She called the number, and they said, okay, we're going to refund you the $20, but then they demanded the remote access because that's the only way they can repay you is through where you have to request it. And they made it look like they paid her $20,000 by mistake. And they'll either do one of two things. They'll say, oh, no, I'm going to lose my job. We got to get that money back. I'm going to lose my job. I'm, a single mom with, multiple kids. Or they'll say, we're going to arrest you. You just stole from us. There's multiple variations. But Connie found herself sitting in front of a Bitcoin ATM feeding cash that she withdrew from her bank. And she was even told by the scammers, if the bank asks why you're taking out the money, just say you're buying a car.
Wow, that was my question.
Yeah.
It's like, this is usually the banks will ask you.
They will, but the scammers will have you on the phone. And they'll actually tell you to go into the restroom and call if you have any problems, and they'll coach you through it. Connie ended up losing $35,000. And what's even more tragic is some of that money was actually taken out of her home equity line of credit. So now not only is she out $35,000, she's paying a high rate of interest on money that the scammers received. And she said something very interesting when we were on Wake Up Tucson. She said, I've forgiven myself. So it wasn't just the money.
Yeah.
It affected her mentally, physically. And it's been a process for her to not blame herself for losing this money. And this is a super smart woman. Lives on her own, handles her own finances, smart cookie, super nice person. And it just shows, they're coming after all of us. And anybody can be a victim. Every person I've met who's been scammed is a smart person.
Yeah. Every day, I don't know if it's the same for you guys and people watching, listening, but every day I get some sort of scam attempt.
Yep.
Like, it's not just like every once in a while. It's literally every day, whether it's emails, phone calls, text messages. The one, hey, your postage needs to be paid, or your package is here. You need to click here to get your information to come pick it up.
Yeah, I received one over the weekend claiming to be UPS, and they actually had, for the first time I've ever seen, a picture of a package on there.
No kidding.
Yeah, and you can't read the name, but you could tell it's a box wrapped up with a white label on it, and you're like, oh, I must have ordered that. I might have to. You just can't click on those links. No, it's relentless. When I do my presentations, I like to show a picture of me from 20 years ago doing a presentation out in California, and I was talking about scams.
Yeah.
And I was a young agent, no gray hair, very naive. And what did I talk about? Identity theft. Is that still a problem? Yes, and it will be forever. And I talked about the Nigerian email scams. But looking back and reading that article from that presentation, because there were 400 people there, it was kind of a big deal. We didn't even have smartphones back then.
Yeah.
And the scammers back then were not organized. They were haphazard, the way they called and emailed you. They were easy to spot. They weren't so prevalent. And like you just said, we're getting bombarded daily from scammers, and they keep trying new things. And the problem's only going to get worse because it's so profitable. So knowing, that I used to work for the government, you can't prosecute everybody. Yeah. It's just there's not enough resources. So we have to prevent people from getting scammed in the first place.
Right. Who's Andy Cohen?
So he's the guy behind the Real Housewives series. And he's the reason I like to talk about Andy Cohen is he got scammed. And I use him as an example because he went on the Today Show maybe earlier this year and shared how he got scammed on just a bank scam. And dude's 55 years old, because it's not just, senior citizens that get scammed. He's a super smart guy in the prime of his life, and he got scammed. He actually went on Today Show live for about 8 minutes and told his story. And if anybody out there wants to go watch it, just look up Andy Cohen Today Show. And he was so impressed about how good they were. They had an answer for everything. And you watch his interview and you realize, yeah, they could get me. They could get my mom. They could get my dad. They could get my neighbor. But I always like to show that when I do a presentation, because most of the times I'm speaking to groups that are 65 plus, to let them know it's not about how old you are. It's not how smart you are, how much money you are. They're coming after everybody. The older folks lose the most just because of the accumulation of wealth.
Mm-hmm. When you talk about that, it opens in my head, I think about all of the tech and all of, like, let's say you're in business, right? And you have to collect your payments and stuff like that, right? It causes this strife in that industry as well, because you're not participating in it, but the trust factor is starting to slowly be chipped away. Going back to what Scott said, it's just slowly getting eroded by all of these bad actors. And it's like, so, I'm sure these places are working on it, but all these tech companies and Google and all that, I'm really hoping that with all this AI stuff is we have to be combating the bad actor and what could happen with these tools if they're not safeguarded, right? Like I feel like it's a responsibility on everybody that should be, because I feel like we're going to start losing that balance.
Yeah.
Right. With what we're talking about. It's just really easy to see how easy the balance could be taken. Because if you have representatives of, of businesses, but they're a bad actor collecting payments, and they're really getting good at what they're doing, and they're following almost everything they do to a T, it's really, really scary, man.
Yeah. And most of these scams use the names of companies we're familiar with.
Right.
Amazon and PayPal and Home Depot and Target and McAfee and Norton and whatever it is, and UPS. It's they have to invest, and I'm sure they do, but they need to do more. Educating people and being on the preventive side. Going out and we'd love to get a grant from one of these big companies to help fund our nonprofit. Then we could do more things.
Yeah. Okay, so if we're listening, or listeners and viewers, the nonprofit that he's with, Rose, could use help.
Absolutely.
Right. So if you're looking to donate into something with a really good cause, please don't hesitate to reach out to Rose and see if there's some ways that you can help out with that program.
Yeah, we roseadvocacy.org. I'm a monthly giver. I don't give a lot of money, but it's a little bit, and because I believe in the cause. And we also want people to sign up for our mailing list. It's a free mailing list where you sign up and you get all the latest scams. And
you okay in there, Scott?
And then what I tell people is, if you like our mailing list, share it with your friends.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, unsubscribe. But that's how we share information, is just, monthly email. And then, like my mom and dad get the email as well. And then we can sit there and have a conversation. And I'm not insulting them because they're in their 80s, and I could say, hey, are you familiar with this new scam? Oh, yeah, I read it on the Rose email that came out this month. Oh, good. Okay, now you know.
Yeah.
Because, I would hate for anybody. I mean, I've already met friends that have gotten scammed. It would just break my heart if my parents got scammed. And it's not just the money. Yeah. All of a sudden I would feel like I failed. I'm like, oh, I didn't do enough. I'm like, I work in this nonprofit world fraud fighting thing, and I didn't do enough. So, and I don't want anybody out there this to happen to their family or friends.
Yeah.
So you got to be proactive. You got to get people signed up to our mailing list. You got to just let people know. And you ask, who's that person out there that would be very vulnerable to a scam? Someone who's older, lives by themselves, who answers the phone. You got to know someone like that. Have a conversation with them and tell them, if you're ever unsure about something, call me up and I'll walk you through it.
Yeah. We need to really normalize these kinds of conversations. Dinner, you know, breakfast, lunch, whatever you can. I mean, even, it should just be part of daily culture. And I think we need to make that a goal. It's like, hey, really question about what's going on.
Or if you receive a scam phone call, don't keep it a secret. Go on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever you use and just say, hey, I got a scammer call. I sniffed it out.
Yeah.
And this is what they're doing now. And then, like you said, it normalizes it where we need to talk about it. It's brutal.
Yeah. We see a lot right now, since we're on that topic. And before we go, we have, we run several different business accounts for Facebooks and stuff. And a lot of people, I'm sure, are dealing with this all the time. But there is an issue with when you'll get messages from all these different things saying, hey, important message, your profile is going to get shut down unless you go here and all that. We get that. How many times do you think we get that, Clint? I see you're back here in the studio. How many times do we get those messages a day about like, oh, we're going to shut down your profile and all that? Yeah, a dozen a day. Easy.
That's what they want you to do is the anatomy of a scam. It's an infographic that we use. It's you get contacted out of the blue, a compelling reason to act, and then they want money. Like pretty much every scam follows that pattern. But they want you, get your attention, get you scared. You know, my bank account's being shut down, my Medicare or Social Security is being shut off, or my grandchild's in jail, you know, whatever, or you want a prize, they get you all amped up, and then they want you to pay some fee or click on something. I mean, all these scams follow the same pattern. If you can just visualize that anatomy of a scam, you can prevent a lot of problems happening to you.
Wait a second. That also sounds like politics.
Hey, you're alive. It sounded like you were fighting a lion back there earlier. I think you had your mic on and you were doing something.
Yeah, it's been a rough one here this morning, but yes, I'm okay.
So what did you just say right now about politicians?
No, what I was saying is they get you. You're saying the scammers. They get you scared. They get you needing to donate money or take some sort of certain action. Right now, sounds like politics to me, man.
Yikes! He did it. Where's the air horn? Hit the air horn.
On myself. Yes.
Well, Brian, we appreciate you being here today. We got about halfway, so I'm going to save these for next time. And then if there's anything else you want to add on here, I'm sure there'll be some new scam going on, or
I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah.
This you're helping the fight. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for being here, man.
Thank you.
Take care. We'll be right back. We got Zach Schultz coming on here with us next. We'll see you soon.
Discover the power of 88 Crime, where your anonymous tips are rewarded with cash. When you call in anonymously with the tip, you are given a code. With the code and a password, you can walk into a bank and redeem your reward anonymously. If your anonymous tip results in a felony arrest, you can claim up to $2,500 cash reward. Let's stop the silence on crime and strive for a safer community. For more information, please visit 88crime.org or call 88crime.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, CopperCreekCookies.net.
We can print anything on our soft vanilla logo cookies. We deliver them and other sweet treats locally. We are located at 4249 West Ina Road, Suite 121. Call us 520-300-1131. We bake smiles.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, CopperCreekCookies.net.
Are you looking to establish a powerful online presence for your brand? Look no further than Live the Dream Media. Our team of experts possess the capabilities and skills necessary to make it happen. From creating compelling content to analyzing data and making strategic decisions, we've got it covered. Don't let a lack of social media know-how hold you back. Visit ltdmedia.net for more information.
Hi, I'm Alan Murdoch. For the past 20 years, I've been buying, fixing, and selling properties right here in Southern Arizona. And I want to buy your property. Whether it's a house, apartment, commercial building, or vacant land, regardless of the condition or the situation, I want to talk to you. When you sell to me, I pay cash and it's hassle-free. No repairs, no closing costs, and no commissions. If you have a property you don't want to deal with and you want a quick solution, call, text, or visit selltalon.com. Again, that's selltalon.com.
Hi, I'm Melissa Zuppi, running for the Marana Town Council. As a resident of Marana, I've witnessed the positive growth that has created a strong community where people in all stages of life want to live. Unfortunately, with growth comes traffic. One of my top priorities and goals is to work towards securing funding for the improvement of Marana's high-traffic I-10 interchanges and local roadways. Let's keep Marana moving forward together. Vote Melissa Zuppi, Marana Town Council.
Hi, I'm Ed Honey, and I'm running for mayor of the town of Marana. I can assure you that if you have water now in the town of Marana, you will have it for the rest of your life. Water is not going to go away. Our water table in North Marana has gone from 300 feet down to 140 feet at the current status. Water will be here forever. Please support Melissa Zuppi, Roxanne Ziegler, and Ed Honey for Marana Town Council.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Sounds good.
All right, we're back on. Zach is here with us.
How you doing,
Good
buddy?
to see you, man.
Thanks for having me.
Good gosh, your arms got bigger since last time I saw you. Like, man,
Getting a little
some
fluffier.
cannons, dude. So for people that don't know Zach, which a lot of people do know you, you were in the fitness world for quite some time, weren't you?
I was, yeah.
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 Treated me well.
Yeah.
I miss it sometimes, but glad to be on greener, not greener, but newer pastures and onto new endeavors. But I do definitely miss a lot of those relationships and experiences that I got to grow through in that industry for sure.
Yeah, and you are a first responder now here in the community.
I am. Yeah.
Thank you for your service, man. Oh, there's the air horn.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I see some familiar faces around here, so makes it
Scott.
easy to come in here and feel comfortable. Yeah, so yeah.
Scott's like, oh, you know Zach? I'm like, yeah, I've actually known him for a long time. Grew up in the same area and
high school. Yeah, absolutely. I remember when David had long dark hair,
yeah,
and he was like the Reggie Bush of Marana High School.
Oh, thanks, man.
He really was.
Many years ago. Yeah.
Many moons.
Appreciate that. Yeah. The hair's gone for sure, man.
Oh, don't worry. Mine's going too, dude. Hence the hat.
I was having like a serious conversation with my brother this weekend because he came over for a birthday party for our daughter. He shaves his head, and I'm like, dude, that's like a whole nother commitment right there.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, just do it.
Yeah.
He's like, your head will be so cold at night. You'll love it. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I could commit to that because I still got like some. And I'm just in this whole, like, I'm going to hang on to it as long as I can.
Is that kind of like the cheat code to the cold side of the pillow?
I guess so. That's what he was saying.
Big Ted?
Yeah, he said if you have nothing on there, it's just this cold, blissful sleep cycle that you get in because there's just no heat.
Wow. My dad's bald, and he's never told me that.
No.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I'm kind of intrigued now.
Yeah.
I'm not quite there yet, but I'm getting there.
Hang on to it, man.
I'm trying. I told my wife, as soon as it gets to that point, you just let me know immediately.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I like it. Yeah, sure you do.
I asked my wife, too. I was like, hey, I'm thinking about shaving my head. What do you think? She didn't even give me an answer. Like, to me, that's it's probably not a good time, right? It's like when you ask them, like, hey, are you cool if I go out with the boys or go do this? And they're like, yeah, go do what you want.
Yeah.
You know how I'm saying?
This is a trick.
Yeah, that it's too.
I don't trust it.
No. No, I'm not going.
We know.
We're good.
Some of our friends don't know.
No,
they don't speak that language.
No, they haven't known that for years.
But we are fluent. We are fluent in that language.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, that's a happy marriage when you understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy wife. Happy life.
Yeah, like that's that hat, Dad Gang.
Yeah, I found them recently on Instagram. I bought a couple of them, and they're like the best fitting hats I've ever gotten. And obviously, I got a few kids, and they're like my whole life. Yeah. And I was like, this is awesome. Because, you see all the mom stuff out there, and that's great. But dads need some love, too.
I dig it. I'm going to have to go grab one now.
You need to. They're great fitting, man. And they have like a bunch of different colorways and everything. So I love them.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
It's so cool. Yeah, I gotta get one.
I kind of want to do like a Case Cactus Classic like this, like with our font, without the circle and the clubs, but just like this.
Yeah.
Something like that. I think it'd be pretty cool.
It's a little on the high side, but Branded Bills really takes care of us. That's what these are.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they took our logo and did this whole leather cut up, and I know they do the embroidery stuff too.
Yeah, my hat that I wear every day on shift is Branded Bills, and I love it.
Yeah.
It's my favorite hat.
They're good quality. They last.
Yeah.
I got the fitted one, and then we got these ones too, the trucker hats too. Yeah. So maybe
they're sweet. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Did you design that?
Actually, my aunt-in-law, so my wife's aunt, Kelly, when I kind of just spur of the moment thought this is exactly what I'm gonna do, because the original year, like that we kicked this off, the inaugural event, I kind of brainstormed it within like 7 weeks of. And I kind of just leaned on all of the people that, I thought were creative in different areas in my life, and just kind of asked them, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And everybody kind of kicked me different ideas. And she kicked me back a few logos, and we kind of bounced around it a little bit. And, but it was like really seamless, like extremely easy. So like shout out to her. Aunt Kelly, thank you for helping me with the logo. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but yeah, she helped me out with that, and it's kind of stuck ever since. It's just been like really clean. We have this one with the golf clubs, and then we have the big one that's on the back. So
yeah,
and the big one on the back is kind of the main logo that I use for everything. So
what is the Case Cactus Classic?
Case Cactus Classic is a golf tournament that I kind of put together to honor my late sister, Kaylee Schultz. She went to the same high school as us. She's a little bit younger than me. She's about 4 years younger than me. So we didn't actually go to high school together, but we were super close. She played volleyball. She ended up passing away, almost 6 years now. 6 years now. And I always kind of was trying to look for an avenue to honor her and carry her legacy on. And so, as you know, I used to bodybuild and I used to be in the fitness industry. And then my wife and I kind of got burnt out on that because it's a very demanding lifestyle. And then I kind of got into the men's league here with baseball. That was kind of demanding, and we kind of phased out of that. And then I started golfing and got really into golf and started getting invited to all these different, charitable tournaments, all these scramble tournaments, and I just really liked them. And then one day we were out playing in one, and I was like, this is what I'm going to do. Like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put together a scramble tournament, and this is how I'm going to honor my sister. And I don't know what the proceeds are going to go to yet. I don't know how we're going to do it, but this is what we're going to do. So I went home pretty much like right after that, and like I said, put something together in like 7 weeks. It ended up like selling out the first time. We had 2 sponsors on every single hole, so we had 36 tee-box sponsors. We had a full field of 144 players. Fork and Fire came out and provided the food truck, which was awesome because my sister worked with them back up at the Keg. So she had that relationship before she had passed. And dude, just so many people came together and like made the inaugural event like unbelievable. Like, blew my expectations completely out of the water. And like, I consider myself somebody who has like a really like high expectations of like not only myself but like the things that I put my time into. Mm-hmm. And I could have never imagined it would have taken off like that. Like, it was unbelievable. So all the proceeds basically are put together to go towards a scholarship for a young lady out at Marana High School, our alma mater. Just because our mom worked 2 jobs while I was in college. I played baseball in college. My sister at the same time was playing club volleyball, and my mom really busted her butt to make it a possibility for us. And so growing up in Picture Rocks, I saw a lot of kids who didn't get out of Picture Rocks. I made a lot of relationships with, kids that lived in Continental Ranch, and that was kind of like my friends that I gravitated towards in middle school and high school. But I'm a Picture Rocks kid, and not very many kids get out of Picture Rocks. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. So the entire motive behind this scholarship is to find a kid who has the talent, but not only on the court, but off the court. I want to find somebody who is a star that brightens up everybody's life, because that's who I believe my sister was. I believe she was somebody who, when people were in bad places, they gravitated towards her just because her smile was infectious, her character was flawless. Like, I just thought so highly of my sister, and I think a lot of people did too when she passed away. Like, it was very evident how many lives she touched. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to find a way to carry that legacy on. And Kay's Cactus Classic has been that avenue for me.
Yeah.
So
you had a lot of support that came right away.
A ton.
Yeah. That's because of who you are and who she was.
Well, thank you, man.
I mean, in the community, it wasn't, when I saw it, I didn't hesitate to, I don't know if I got in on the first one, but when I saw.
No, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
I was like, yeah, we're going to do something over there. I don't have the time to go play golf, nor do I have the business to be on now. I'm so bad, but
I wouldn't mind seeing you swing a golf club.
Yeah, but I mean, we hadn't. Yeah, you don't want to see that. No, we hadn't talked much pray for a couple of years, but I was like, hey, dude, I'm in. I mean, that's what happens when you set that tone of how you treat people from those young ages, like you're talking about with your scholarship. That's so important. I mean, look what it transitions to in the future, right? Like, you feel overwhelmed almost from it, huh?
Oh,
like,
absolutely,
dude,
man. Like, it was. I mean, I think in the darkest hours of like my sister, passing, that is the only thing that got us through was the lives that we touched, that she touched, reaching out to us and lending a hand. I mean, like Josiah Palika and Corey Coles Perez and Billy Conley, the day after, like on a whim, putting together a car wash at Coyote Trail Elementary. Like, that's where my mother-in-law works. That's where my mom works. And for those guys to just put together a car wash, I wasn't super close with them. Neither was my sister. but like they saw us in pain and they put something together. And like that was just one example. Like so many people did so many different things for us. It was just unbelievable. And it was just like kind of like you reap what you sow. You know, the seeds that you plant, like they will grow. And I think you're right. Like it's just the relationships. Like my in-laws and my wife and some of my friends give me, like even guys on my crew, they give me a hard time because we'll go places and I'll see people and they're just like, you know everybody. And I'm like, I'm just a relationship-driven dude. Like I feel like it's extremely important for me to be friendly and make a relationship with this person because you have no idea what those people are going through. And honestly, like it feeds my soul too, you know, and I know it fed my sisters. So, yeah.
So how many golfers you got on this one? Is it grown?
Full already? Yeah, 144. I think last year we sold out both. We sold out the whole sponsorships and the golf within 48 hours. I think it was like 46 or 47 hours. It was unbelievable. This year we sold out golf within, I think it was like 36 hours. And we're still working on a few whole sponsors. I think we have like 2 or 3 spots left. Okay. But those will come.
Yeah.
Those will come.
How much are those whole sponsors again?
125.
125. I'll take another one.
Oh, thank you, bro.
Yeah.
I appreciate
we got
you.
a couple little things that we do here.
Thank you.
Local. So I did one for Live the Dream Media, but I didn't do one for Local Marana. So I'm like, well, he's coming on the Local Marana podcast, but I should probably take care of you while you're here and probably have that out there. So we're gonna have a banner out at the high school pretty soon here too with the Local Marana because we're gonna make this like a live thing that happens consistently. We're gonna open up programming for like Monday through Friday.
Oh,
that's our goal for the fall.
Heck yeah,
we're gonna have hosts, so there's gonna be like your drive to work. You'll be able to listen to us on TuneIn or
that's awesome.
Watch us. And
that's
stuff
so
like
exciting.
That. So, but it's a no brainer to support your cause and have some advertising out there on the holes, man.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
Plus, you'd be like, hey guys, go scan that QR code and go watch me on there.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, and it's like that's what makes it so easy, you know, and so different. I think like if we can put a QR code on like your sign this year or like your Local Marana sign, because I don't think we have one on LTDs, because I know I still have your sign. Yeah. From last year and the year prior.
Yeah, it's good.
But we can get a Local Marana one with the QR code.
Yeah.
And that's even better because I was actually talking to one of my friends. His name's Sammy Araballo.
Yeah, Sammy.
You know Sammy?
Oh, yeah, man.
So he is a good friend of mine. He's about to do our backyard.
Yes.
And him and I were talking about how it seems a little bit more stagnant on the whole sponsorship side of things this year. And I said, yeah, it's kind of weird because I feel like that sold out almost just as quick as the foursomes did in years prior.
Yeah.
And he was like, I think people are just a little bit more hesitant to do that because they're not seeing as much business from it. And I was like, yeah, I get that. But I said a lot of people do it just, you know, to be benevolent and generous and everything like that. And so I was like, well, how can we like make it something fun and something that business owners are attracted to doing again? And so him and I came up with something for his business where I don't want to spoil it, but I'm sorry, Sammy, I'm going to spoil it, dude.
Sorry, Sammy.
He does, you know, backyard landscaping design. So his specialty is turf. And so what we're going to do on one of the holes is we're going to put up an inflatable pool. We're going to fill it up with water. And then he's going to build like a little floating putting green.
Nice.
And we're going to have like a chipping contest. And for everybody who can chip it into the hole is going to get their name put into a drawing for a $150 PGA Superstore gift card.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, creative, man.
And like, so that was just something that like Sammy and I spitballed off the top of our head, you know, a couple mornings ago. We were on the phone for like an hour, just kind of, we talk, I motivate him, he motivates me. And it was just super cool to like, all right, cool. How do we take this from a T-box sign to something that showcases your business, you know? And it was just like, dang, that just took off like in no time. And we were both like so excited about it. It was just like, okay, how do we do this with every other business?
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's my goal on the years moving forward, like the businesses that support us and want to be a part of this. Like, how do we bring them in and just showcase what their specialty is and make them feel special, you know, and drive people to their business? Because I think that's really important. I mean, I'm not in sales anymore, but I was in sales for a long time. And I networked for a long time. I did marketing for a long time. And I think that's what's helped me with Kay's Cactus Classic, as well as those relationships. But a lot of those relationships came from networking with like the Marana Chamber, you know, like Jeff Saunders. He does all my signs.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just crazy. Like I said, the seeds that you plant. I haven't gone to one of those chamber events in probably 10 years since back when I was doing financial advising with Thrivent.
Yeah.
And, you know, Jeff reached out to me on Facebook and was like, hey, do you have anybody doing your T-Box signs? And I was like, no. And so he got in on it, and him and I have had a relationship ever since, and he's been super awesome. We just text things back and forth. Like, it's very casual. He makes it really easy on me, drops stuff off at my house. Like, it's super simple.
There you go. Yeah.
Again, seeds you plant, they grow into things you'll never expect. So it's crazy.
Yeah. You know, just for some perspective in the nonprofit world, so I'm involved in a couple nonprofits, and just donations from everywhere are down. I mean, Brian was in here before you, and he works at a non-for-profit, and the donations are down.
Really?
And I think it has a lot to do with where we're at economically.
Yeah. I think Sammy and I talked about that too.
You know, people are making some tough decisions with things, you know what I mean? And I've seen a lot of people selling some of their toys and things like that. And it's like, well, I mean, you gotta take care of business, and that's just the way it is. So, but yeah, in the donation space, we're down there in the stuff I'm involved in too. And it's not because like there's no impact happening or anything from what we're doing. It's just there's not a lot of money floating around right now.
Yeah. People don't have that discretionary income that they once had.
Right.
You know? Right. And I mean, I felt that filling up my truck at the gas pump this morning.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, or going to the grocery store.
Yeah.
You know, the budget doesn't look the same as it did 2-3 years ago.
That's why you need to be a chief officer.
One day.
Chief officers get free rides and free gas. So I'd highly recommend that.
There he is. I was wondering when you were going to chime in there, Scott.
That's my success counselor right there speaking.
Oh, yeah? Success counselor.
Did you hear him? Did you hear him?
Oh.
He's leading me on the
he
path.
just kind of pops up every now and then and says, do better.
Did you guys work together at all, Scott?
No, not together. I was kind of transitioning out. I was still running ops when he first came in, but I think other than just talking a little bit in the academy and through graduation, we didn't get to hang out a whole lot. But, you know, if you're a Golden Rancher, I'm down with you for life. So,
yeah,
I'm happy to.
Chief Rob was like the voice of there's light at the end of the tunnel. Like, just keep pushing in the academy. Him and Chief Grissom, they were the ones that came in, and it was like, it's going to be okay. Like, I know you're dying right now, and your soul might be dead right now, but
you know,
it's going to be okay.
And given it from our perspective, too, where it's like, I know you see where we're at as chief officers, but we were just like you. We were floundering during our academy. We were exhausted. We were all of those other things. And I think just trying to share that it's going to be all right. And sure enough, not only is it all right, but sounds like you're doing great over there, man.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm on a good crew, and they hold me accountable. And, you know how it is when you first get off probation and get out of the academy. You know, you really just are out there to try to make a good impression and, you know, show that you're a good teammate. And, you know, that was things that attracted me to the fire service before I even got in on it, just being and playing sports my entire life. So you need to be relied upon. So
True. Hey, how do people donate or get sponsorships for the Case Classic? What do they do? What are the steps?
Really, it's just contact with me. Like I've kept it really small. We have our email at casecactusclassic@gmail.com. We're also on Instagram at casecactusclassic, or you can reach out to me on Instagram at Zona Schultz with 2 Z's at the end.
Hey, Scott, anything going on in the chat today?
No, other than our repeat offenders.
The usuals.
The usual suspects.
Which we love, and thank you so much.
Absolutely. Firing up. But, you know, we can add that stuff in the chat. And I think that's a fantastic idea, Zach, on finding little different ways that people can be more creative with their whole sponsorship, because I think that makes it fun. And that, then you're not just looking at a sign, you're going like, oh, what do these guys do? And you have a QR code, or you have a little fun way to interact with that company. I think that's an awesome idea.
I think it makes such a difference. And I didn't even really think about it until Sammy brought it up to me on the phone, because I obviously, like I said, he's a colleague of mine, or a buddy of mine, somebody that I respect in his own professional industry. And like I said, we lean on each other and we give each other ideas, and he gave me a different perspective, which I think is so important. Mm-hmm. And like I said, in literally 52 minutes on the phone, I looked at it and I was like, geez, that conversation just spiraled out of, nowhere. It was just supposed to be check-in, like, hey, how you doing, buddy? This is what's going on, blah, 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 blah. It spiraled into 52 minutes of us just spitballing ideas. And look what great idea came out of it. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good hit. Yeah.
So. I think for my company, I got aerospace training and consulting, and I could see us just building little wooden airplanes and having a little aerodynamic flight contest where you just have 4 up and you take some bets and see who can get the farthest based on the aerodynamics.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so many different ideas that you could do, and it's cool just thinking of the possibilities of 36 different business owners coming out and putting their own spin on every hole. Mm-hmm. That's super cool.
That is really cool.
It's really cool. So I think that's my next goal for next year, and do what I can this year, but years moving forward, how can we make this different? Because that's one thing that everybody who has played in our tournament so far over the first 2 years has said, your guys' tournament's a lot different because you have a lot more interaction. Mm-hmm. It's not just, okay, we're going to go out and golf. Top Golf is a part of it, because my sister worked at Top Golf. Mm-hmm. And shout out to Alexis Ortiz. She's a good friend of mine. She went to Mountain View when I was at Marana. And she worked with my sister. And, I mean, as soon as we posted this, she was all over it. Yeah. And we're in the midst of talking about how we're going to collaborate this year. But the first 2 years, man, they jumped right on top of it. And they were such a help. And, I mean, just saying oh yeah, Top Golf sponsors our event. That's a name that, holds weight, and I can't be more thankful. But even thinking of something that they could do, you know what I mean? There's got to be something that they can do that can, kind of piggyback off of what Sammy's talking about, So I think the possibilities are endless. Yeah. I'm excited.
You're going to have a whole board pretty soon here.
It's going to be sick.
You're going to be full-blown
I can't wait.
Non-for-profit, and you're going to be...
I can't wait, dude. It's figuring out what you're going to do next. That's what Sammy said, too. He's like, dude, he's like, you're only in year 3. Yeah. He's like, you sold it out in the first year. And he's like, what's next? I'm like, dude, I don't even know.
A gala.
I have no idea. Yeah, I'm like, I have no idea, man. I really don't. It's just was an idea that popped in my head out there playing golf one day, and I love it. Mm-hmm. It's because I love golfing, and I know my sister did too. Working at Top Golf, and above everything else, it's about the generosity. It's about making an impact in the community that we grew up in.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know if you remember, but I don't remember a lot of people coming around and saying, hey, we're going to donate jerseys this year.
No. I remember us going, hey, what do we have to wear?
Yeah.
Absolutely. The new coach out there, Philip Stewart,
I've seen him on the show, right?
He's had to piece together so much more because his program grew immensely.
Really?
Yeah, and thankfully he came on our show and he got really, really good sponsorships and some money donated. Thousands.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, no, it was really cool.
I played in the tournament, the Marana Athletics tournament last year at Omni. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I had reached out to you and I said, hey, if he needs any help, this upcoming year running a golf tournament, let me know.
Okay.
And so, because it was really great. It was nice to see somebody just so passionate and emphatic about the program and just getting people out there. Because, like I said, back when we were playing, and I mean, I don't mean to age us, you know what I mean? We're not that old, but
yeah,
we didn't have that enthusiasm around our programs back then.
We weren't winning a lot back then either, buddy. Well, mine wasn't. It wasn't until my senior year.
Dang.
I'm sorry.
Shots fired.
I gotta go. All right, I'll see you
I
guys.
literally think, dude, our men's programs, basketball, baseball, and football, I think we collectively won like 10 games my senior year.
No kidding.
I'm sorry to put that on air, everybody, but
Man.
it's
Yeah.
embarrassing.
Well,
You know,
no,
losing builds character, and sounds like you got a lot of
Here he
character
comes to
out
show
of that
you
high
some
school
support.
experience.
Sounds
And
like
he
you
pops
lost
in.
a lot. Yeah.
It's all good.
Kinda.
No, you know what? Some good. Now they're like crazy good and everything.
Oh, I know.
It's like,
It almost seemed like 3 or 4 years afterwards, like it really started to like kind of take off a little bit, and then we've seen it grow a little bit and a little bit and a little bit, and that's another thing that like I'm really excited about is the relationship that we've finally struck with Coach Lex, the new volleyball coach out there, and then Nicole. She's kind of like our happy medium between Club Cactus and Marana.
Okay.
Because it's kind of taken some time to steamroll that and get some momentum going. You'd be surprised, like, kind of how hard it is to give away free money. Like, it's kind of weird.
I'm not gonna say it.
It's kind of
I'm not gonna say anything.
It's kind of weird. Like, I you know, at
It's
least
called bureaucracy, my friend, and it waves its ugly face all the time. We deal with it all the time. Everybody deals with it all the time. I mean, a great example would be something like the DMV and anything else that's attached to school districts and government. I mean, it's the thing is they have so many steps. They have to make sure that things have to go a certain way.
Yeah.
But that's
glass half full.
Yeah.
Like we're really getting some momentum. Like we put together like this awesome scholarship application form. And
so cool.
We're really making these relationships, and I'm already like thinking like, all right, cool. We've got, you know, this amount of funds allotted towards the scholarship. Can we donate jerseys this year? Can we give 2 scholarships this year? Like, how can we go above and beyond, again, like our expectations and what we set out to do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And again, just make a bigger impact. Like, that's what it's all about.
It is, man.
Do I dribble over into the baseball team? Do I dribble over into the football team? Like, again, like, how do we grow this thing? Like, that's really what's exciting to me is like, how can we get into the other programs? You know, if we've got the volleyball team set up and we got this going, how can we benefit the baseball team? Because, I mean, you know, I've been playing baseball since I was probably before I was even able to walk. So,
Yeah.
you know, being able to, you know, give back to that program. I know that's something my sister would have been passionate about too, because I mean, she lived at the ball field. She was like everybody's little sister on that field, on that team.
Yeah.
So it's just, again, how can we continue to grow this thing? How can we make a bigger impact? And that's really it. So
we all know the importance of sports programs and how influential it is in the progress of somebody's life and the life
Absolutely.
lessons you learn. And I mean, it's even more cool when you have good equipment. You know what I mean? Because I think even when you were there, like, I know when we played football, bro, we didn't even get our home jerseys till week 5. We wore our away jerseys to every game.
can we
before
talk
that.
about like the phase of Marana High School where the basketball teams were navy and yellow, like Michigan, and then we had the football team and the baseball team that were like almost like baby blue and Vegas gold.
Yeah.
And it was like, what is going on here?
Yeah, we were wearing jerseys that were almost like Notre Dame and Sabino-ish.
They were wild.
Yeah, I was like,
remember.
what is this gold? Where did the...
Yeah.
Because I always thought we were yellow. Yellow.
I thought we were royal blue and yellow.
Well, now they're back. Everything's
Okay, good.
everything's kosher now.
Good.
I've seen the jerseys recently. I got to hook you,
You know
up with
what?
Coach Stewart, though, for
Please
sure.
do.
I'm going to give you his
Yeah.
phone number
Please do.
before you leave the day.
You guys were like think of yourselves as like a startup company. Like you were there trailblazing and laying the foundation with all of these weird things so that now Marana High School can thrive. And it's because of you. I give both of you full credit
Thanks,
for that.
Scott. Thanks. I can put that on my resume in case I ever need
we
a
took
job.
a lot of L's. All of you kids at Marana High School, you're welcome.
Yeah, you guys
We
are-
were the pioneers.
Hey, we were the Miles Davis of losing. If you talk to Captain Ryan over there at Golder Ranch, and he and I as Catalina High School, not the Foothills Catalina.
Oh,
but
you were at the. Oh,
You were
yeah.
at Catalina.
That was
They
our
were-
warm up games,
Yeah.
even for us.
right?
Holy cow.
There were no
God bless
Foothills in our Catalina. And we had great athletes, but unfortunately you had to be eligible in order to play. And so we would have like a great first 3 games, and then grades would come out, and then we'd be playing both ways for the rest of the season because grades came out.
David and I can think of a couple names
Yeah.
when it comes to that situation.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. My grandmother had a house right across the street from Catalina High School as I was growing up. And
Oh,
I
did
used
you?
to, yeah, I used to go.
That
And,
bullet holes in it?
no, it was actually a really sweet house with like this like 2nd story guest house. I have no idea how she like afforded it or lived there, but it was awesome. And my grandfather used to take me across the way, and we would inline skate in the little hockey rink way
Yeah.
back in the day. I think I was probably like 5-6 years old. Some of my earliest memories. So,
Oh, dude, that,
Catalina High School.
that
you
was
know.
dope. You know, Central Tucson has a lot of culture, and it's near and dear to my heart because that's where I grew up. So,
Yeah.
no, I could appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
We
like
all
that
have
he
our roots.
Yeah, I like that he appreciates that place. I
Yeah.
wasn't a big fan of Pitch Rocks, but that's just me. I got others as fast as I could. But,
Same.
Yeah, so
Same. I
props to
do.
you on that.
You know,
So how many whole sponsors do you have left now? We just took another one.
I think like 1 or 2.
Okay, 1 or 2 are left. So if you're listening or you're watching right now, also this will go into a podcast form at the later today or early in the morning. Just go and reach out to Zach and take care of that. I know that things are tough right now, but I think even if you don't get some huge ploy on it for yourself or your business, it's much more than that. It's an impact for the community. Just hearing what you're talking about with the scholarship and what you guys are trying to do with jerseys and influence and anything that you have going on that says for the youth, we're in, man. So
and I mean, I think that's what it's all about, you know, providing better opportunities than we had, you know?
Yeah.
And not to say that people didn't give us opportunities, because there was a lot of people that looked out for us too. And thank you to those people.
Yeah.
There's still people that, you know, look out for us,
Right.
you know, and support us. And that's probably why we're in the roles that we're in now in our lives. But it's all about just giving better opportunities to the people that are coming after us. Because if not, like, what future do any of us have? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I think that's the best legacy that you can leave is just, not to sound corny, but leave the place better than you found it, you know?
preach.
Yeah.
Preach.
So, yeah, hit me up if you guys have any ideas about, you know, some fun games that we can have on tee boxes, you know, like, or if you have a business and you might not want to do a sign or something like that, and you want to do something else, I'm all ears, because I want to make this as unique and fun and inclusive as possible.
Yeah.
Because that's what separates our tournament from other scramble tournaments.
What is the date of the?
August 3rd.
Okay.
Registration's going to be at 6:30, and shotguns start at 7:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
excited, man. I can't wait. We moved from Suelo last year. Suelo is awesome. It's probably my dad and I's favorite course.
Where's
but
that at?
It's out at the casino.
Oh, okay.
And it was great, but unfortunately we chose the same weekend as Shannon's slumber party, unknowingly. And let's just say Shannon's slumber party sold out both hotels. Like both.
Whoa.
And it was like, oh, well, okay. I guess we're, you know, we're kind of second on the map here this weekend, which was cool. But Omni's closer. You know, we have some friends and connections up at Omni.
There you go.
And it just seemed like a better opportunity for us to get up there and stay a little bit closer to the northwest side. Because if we forgot anything at Suelo, it's a 40-minute drive.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, we're excited to work with Omni. Can't wait. If you're not sponsoring or if you're free that day, we do have the Heckle Hole, which is basically like the waste management.
Nice.
It's pretty awesome.
Okay.
My buddy Orion Gresham, who is the owner of OG Enterprises, he sponsors the Heckle Hole. And essentially, like I said, it's like the waste management, what you guys all see on TV, where you're going to get heckled as you step underneath your ball. And then they'll quiet up. but as soon as you hit, they're gonna like cheer, or if you miss the green, they're gonna boo you. And last year it was a huge hit. We had our last place guy in our fantasy football league come out there with like a toilet seat around his head that said,
nice.
"I suck at fantasy football." And if you know him, Kevin Anderson, he's the owner of Pursuit Fitness. He's a really good friend of mine, also a whole sponsor. He was out there, and he can talk trash with the absolute best of them. He's probably one of the most quick-witted people I have ever met. And maybe I'll get Q Wilson Jefferson from Ruckus Room out there too, and he's pretty quick-witted too. If you know him.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
And he's a whole sponsor as well this year.
Dude, you
so
got to
shout out to him.
get who is it? Ludwig that was doing all the heckling at the softball turn. Like, you got to get him as just an on-mic commentator from Golden Ranch.
That's exactly what we want.
Yeah,
that is exactly what we want. I'm gonna get one of those JBL speakers with like the sweet microphone.
There it is.
And like it's literally like we got pop-up tents on the tee box, and like everybody's hanging out, and it's supposed to be a
that
little
could
rowdy.
be Live the Dream sponsored, because we got all the speakers and everything. We could live the dream and hop up and
we'll have to talk
heckle.
about next year. We got a whole sound system that we can.
Okay.
We got all kinds of crazy stuff.
See, you never know unless you start like spitballing things like where it can go.
Yeah.
You have no idea where it's like, oh my gosh, we didn't even think about that possibility.
Yeah, he ripped me on the softball game for coming in second place in the fire chief contest, and I was like, yeah, that was a good one. Thank you.
Well, I just have a bone to pick with because I'm on B shift, and every time we have a kickball or softball tournament, it's always on a B shift day. And I don't, and David knows me, I'm pretty competitive. It doesn't matter whether it's ping pong or kickball or.
He's an athletic being as well, so.
It doesn't matter. But someone needs to stop scheduling this stuff on B shift. I think we need to schedule this on A shift days.
Use your juice, Scott.
Talk to your union representation.
They've got their hands full right now. I don't know if I can bother them at the moment.
Oh, man. Well, gents, we got to cut it. We're done for the day. Got some meetings to go to, some work to do, and our clients are probably like, "What are you guys doing over there?" I'm just kidding. Just doing broadcasts all day,
having fun.
No, we're having a great time. And again, make sure you reach out to Zach if you're wanting to sponsor for the Case Cactus Classic. Say that 3 times fast.
Case Cactus Classic. Case Cactus Classic. Case Cactus Classic.
My man. All right. Well, we're out. Thank you so much for being here, Zach.
Thank you guys for having me.